George MacIntyre, a QB, number 3 QB per on 3, overall 10th player in the nation, so a top 10 guy. He's 6'5.5", about 185 pounds, headed to Tennessee out of the state of Tennessee, playing for Brentwood Academy. Now, he is a very exciting player, and I think that, when you watch his highlights, there's a lot that you can fall in love with. But digging into some things, there's a little more concerns than you have when you just watch the highlights, where he looks like a true dual threat, difference-making QB, basically with a Josh Allen type upside. But digging into the numbers, there's a little bit of reason for pause. 67% completion, that's great. However, only 7.6 yards per attempt. Some of the guys we looked at before, 10, 12 yards per attempt. 7.5 is not that great. 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions is a little bit too many interceptions. And to be honest, his team was 2-10. Like, they're not good. He's had a head coach fired twice in his reign as a starting QB at Brentwood Academy. He'll be going into his third head coach next year as a senior. Max velocity of 53 miles an hour. So, kind of over the cusp of what we would like to see threshold-wise for arm strength. And when he steps into a throw and looks comfortable, he can really sling it. There's no question about it. The problem is when you watch a full game of this guy, it's very inconsistent. We talked a little bit about that with Bryce Underwood, the QB1 in the class, but it's more pronounced with MacIntyre. It happens more often, and to be honest, the accuracy is just not really there. It's throw to throw, but you can see what he can do here on tape. A lot of exciting things. He can get downfield. He can get moving and be a dual threat at the next level. I just think right now he's pretty raw. I'm not sure he should really be a 5-star. I mean, if he is, it's all on potential because, right now I think he's got kind of a long way to go to be considered a premium prospect. A lot of tools that are fun to dream on, but the reality is here, he's just not ready for prime time, in my opinion. David, I'll throw it to you. I know there's probably one aspect of his prospect profile you really like, but what do you think about George MacIntyre?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. And the production is a little scary at this point. He was actually more productive as a sophomore, but his adjusted yards per attempt was in the bottom 10th percentile last year, 7.54 I have. But I will also, so one thing I like to do with production is try to contextualize it a little bit. And so I look at the differential between their team rating, MAPS Prep team rating, and their Max Prep's strength of schedule. And it was -8, which is the bottom 3rd percentile, which it basically means that they were a little overwhelmed. But part of that is if he was a superstar, it would probably have a higher MAPS Preps team rating. So it's a little funky to look at, and it doesn't give us much of a signal as a stat. But basically, they were overwhelmed quite a bit, like you said, 2-10. Yeah, I think he needs more consistency. I don't think he's a true dual threat. There was some highlights of him running, but I wouldn't classify him going forward as a dual threat guy. So he can't really carry his team in that regard. So you can't really overcome a bad offensive line. But I don't know. I thought he challenged tight windows pretty well. I thought he was really good moving to his left, which is a difficult throw. I thought he did that really well. So it showed some good athleticism. You could see that on the basketball court too. I don't know if that's what you're alluding to. He's got tons of dunks. He's got tons of he's a really good 3-point shooter too. I think that could translate to better accuracy down the line. I thought his mechanics were relatively smooth. So I just think, I think it would be nice if he had a really big senior year. But like you said, it's kind of like a tradesy thing at this point.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I would just echo everything you guys said. I mean, the highlights are definitely really fun. My issue is that he plays a lot of hero ball, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that successfully at the next level, especially since he's not really doing it incredibly well at the high school level. I mean, 12 interceptions is a good amount. That's an interception rate of 2.8%, and I mean that's on the higher end for high caliber quarterbacks. We're definitely looking for under 2. Anything over 3 is definitely very concerning, which he's not over that, but he's knocking on the door of that. So I definitely need to see him clean that up next year. And I think his tools are fine, but I don't think the tools are high end enough that we should be like, okay, this is a project player that I'm going to invest on because I think he's crazy, like you earlier said, Josh Allen. I don't think he's near that level of physical ability. I mean, it's not even close. So while he is fun, I don't think the upside is that high, and he does play a bit sloppy already. So it is definitely going to be a slow transition into college, and then we'll see how high that ceiling actually is.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Just for I think Josh Allen much stronger arm than MacIntyre has right now, so it wasn't an exact comp, but there seemed to be a little bit, like you said, hero ball. I think Josh Allen can play some hero ball as well. Yeah, no, that's all sounds good to me. That's George MacIntyre. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and like and subscribe to this video, please. And comment if you think we're wrong on MacIntyre. But right now, I think he's probably a little bit, rated a little bit higher than the reality with him as a prospect.